The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Dani Laurel. Let's now take a look at the equities space. You can see on my terminal here the U.S. stocks performing quite well. This was, of course, on Friday's close. You can see that Wall Street had the best day they had that Friday in more than a month. And the futures continue to edge higher. You've also got the S&P 500 jumping more than 2% Friday. That has salvaged the first weekly advance in the past 5 weeks of losses. Now let's take a look at how Asia is opening on the same pace. You can see Japan actually closed today for a holiday. And meanwhile, over in the Chinese stocks, you can see the Shanghai and Shenzhen composites up by 0.4%. The Hang Seng, however, the big star of the morning, up by 1.6%. This is as reports are coming in that Hong Kong's economy is coming back stronger and may even outpace rival hub Singapore. China's economic growth, meanwhile, is seen to return to its normal path. This as Beijing has given some aid, of course, for their households to be recovering. And just, to remind our viewers here, China no longer requires any hotel quarantine for tourist arrivals there since yesterday. So everyone can freely come in and out of China, despite the fact, of course, that COVID cases there are still in the millions per day. Now, let's take a quick peek at the MSCI Asia Pacific Index because I wanted to show you guys here how there's a deep V that's been happening. And we are on track actually for the longest winning streak we've seen since at least September 2021. So quite some momentum here for Asia Pacific stocks. Now, moving on to our own domestic front here, the same kind of movement. Let me just pull out the chart here for the 3 days. You can see us enjoying a bit of a bump up, still firming up below 6,700 levels here. However, we did fall on Friday's trade. That's as we've already hit a 1-month high in terms of valuations. And I'll pick up that valuations chart here. We are actually trading still quite historically low. When you take a look at the 5-year chart, we're still trading at about 13.5 times 12-month forward PEs. But nevertheless, still enjoying quite some winning streaks here, even as that rally fizzled out on Friday. Now, a couple of stocks that I want to take a peek at. First, let's look at the movements here on the winners and losers this Monday morning. I'll just pick out the 1-day chart for you. We are just about 20 minutes into trade. You've got Alliance Global up by 2.8%, followed by Ayala Land and BDO. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you can see ASEN, so another Ayala Corporation, actually just one of just 3 stocks here that are sitting out this rally. And finally, 2 stocks that I want you to watch out for today. You've got Robinsons Retail. This on the back of them having seen quite a 4-week high on Friday. That's as they did announce that the board approved their purchase of 4.4% of stake in BPI. Very interesting transaction there. Meanwhile, you've also got BPI enjoying a bump up on Friday. Let's see if that continues. It is happening to be the case. Another peso up for BPI, trading at 101 pesos and 60 centavos. All right, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. you're still watching One News Now. I'm Dani Laurel. Now, President Bongbong Marcos seeks faster air traffic system upgrade to avoid another glitch. The president instructed the Transportation Department to fast-track talks with potential suppliers for the upgrade of equipment. He made this remark during an inspection at NAIA.
Ang sinabi ko lang kay Sec. Jimmy is to make sure that we fast-track all of whatever negotiations we have with our with the equipment suppliers who can help us with the upgrades, both for the software and the hardware of our equipment. And beyond that is to have a proper backup system so that if the whole system fails, like it did on January 1, we have a complete system ready to go. Yun lamang, that might take a little time.
Now, the president also apologized to thousands of passengers who were affected by the airspace shutdown on New Year's Day. The investigation into the incident is still ongoing.
We have to apologize to our kababayans who, especially those who came from abroad, dahil limitado ang kanilang bakasyon, nawala yung 2-3 araw eh. Alam naman natin, very valuable sa Pilipino yung Christmas holiday. Kaya kami humihingi ng inyong paumanhin.
The Bangko Sentral says its work program for 2023 will focus on launching new payment streams. It says it aims to launch digital payment streams such as InstaPay debit pool and Request to Pay. BSP Governor Felipe Medalla says the central bank also aims to issue a merchant acquiring and aggregation licensing framework. Medalla also says the BSP has begun the conduct of a pilot wholesale central bank digital currency or CBDC. According to the Bangko Sentral, the CBDC aims to help facilitate cross-border transactions. The gross borrowings declined by 31.3% year-on-year as of the end of November. That is according to the Treasury Bureau. Now, data from the Treasury shows that total gross borrowings dropped to 1.91 trillion pesos in the January to November period in 2022. That is lower than the 2.78 trillion peso borrowings in the previous year. The 11-month gross borrowings represent nearly 87% of the government's 2.2 trillion total borrowing plan for 2022. Gross borrowings in November alone more than doubled to 62.57 billion pesos from the 26.7 billion pesos in the same month of 2021. That November figure, however, was 64.6% lower than the 172.6 billion pesos logged in October. Meanwhile, indications point to a third consecutive month of power rate hikes for Meralco customers in January. That is according to a company official. Meralco Vice President Ferdinand Lawrence says electricity rates are likely up this month. That's according to the Philippine Star. The projected hike is attributed to continued pressure on prices, the wholesale electricity spot market in December, as peak and average demand were more than offset by the increase in capacity on outage. Fernandez says the supply months saw the grid being placed under several yellow alerts, experiencing more days with the imposition of the secondary price cap. Meralco started sourcing an additional 670 megawatts from the WESM in December following the suspension of its power deal with a San Miguel unit. Now onto some global updates. China's reopening is sparking a travel rush, while the World Bank is warning that adverse shocks could push the world economy into a recession. Bloomberg's Bonnie Quinn with the full story.
China's border reopening after 3 years of global isolation is sparking a homecoming rush for many Chinese living overseas. Beijing has dropped quarantine for arrivals after ditching COVID-0, but visitors will still need a 48-hour negative PCR test. A rebound in outbound travel may take longer as many countries adopt stricter COVID testing requirements for Chinese visitors. The World Bank is warning further shocks could push the global economy into recession this year, with small states especially vulnerable. The warning comes in the biannual Global Economic Prospects Report due for release Tuesday. It says global growth could decelerate sharply and continue in high inflation, worsening financial conditions, and Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine will all impact events. Bloomberg has learned U.S. authorities are probing Barry Silbert's crypto empire over internal transfers. Sources say federal prosecutors are investigating money flows between Digital Currency Group and a subsidiary offering crypto lending services. The SEC is also reportedly conducting an investigation. None of Silbert, DGC, or its subsidiaries have been accused of wrongdoing. Global news 24 hours a day on air and on Bloomberg Quick Take, powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts in more than 120 countries. I'm Vonnie Quinn. This is Bloomberg.
And for more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online, or visit our website, that's onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now. That's at www.signalplay.com. And stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Danny Laurel. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.